This is the 1950 painting number 10 by Mark Rothko. It may look like just a few simple squares, and to be honest, to me it kind of does too, but this painting sold for $82 million in 2015. He is one of the highest selling abstract artists of all time, but are these worth millions? Is he a genius? Is this even art? Let's talk about it today. I post new stuff about art every single day, and we have great discussions in the comments, so follow if that's your thing. Mark Rothko was born Marcus Rothkowitz in Latvia in 1903. But in 1913, his family left the Russian Empire and moved to the land of freedom for artists, Portland, Oregon. He went to Yale and started painting in the 1920s, and at first his work looked nothing like the stuff that you know him for. It had figures and mythological themes and actual stuff. But over time he stripped more and more away, and eventually it was just big blocks of color floating in space. He eventually became a US citizen in 1938. And around that time, with Nazism rising and anti-Semitism spreading globally, he made a decision that lots of Jewish immigrants made. He changed his name, and in January 1940, Marcus Rothkowitz became Mark Rothko. It wasn't until the 1950s that things really started taking off for him. A major collector named Duncan Phillips started buying up his work, and not one or two pieces, but a bunch. He ended up creating the Rothko room in the Phillips collection in DC, and it's still the only dedicated Rothko room in any US museum. This is something Rothko always wanted. He said he wanted viewers of his paintings to be undisturbed by other types of art. Rothko hated the idea of his art being decorative. He refused to let his paintings be hung in places like restaurants. In fact, he once took a huge commission from the Four Seasons in New York just so that he could not deliver the work. He wanted to protest the idea of rich people eating steak in front of his emotional breakdowns in red and black. He loved making massive paintings, the kind that fill your entire field of vision. But unfortunately, later in life, he suffered an aneurysm that made it physically impossible to work the way that he wanted to. And on February 25th, 1970, Rothko ended his own life in his studio. Today, Rothko's work sells for wild amounts. This piece, Orange, Red, Yellow from 1961, sold for $87 million at an auction in 2012. But a lot of people still ask the same question. Is it genius, or is it just expensive rectangles? What do you think? Is Rothko overrated, or is there something deeper going on here? Let me know in the comments.